was just one VSD in the middle. I looked and looked and looked, and then I closed that VSD in the middle, and then ventricular septal defect.
The bottom part, yeah.
Yeah, and I fixed everything else, and it came off, and there was one in another place.
Oh.
So I went back on the heart-lung machine, and then I closed all that. And both the right-sided valve and the left-sided valve were working perfectly. I repaired both of them.
Okay.
And I closed the atrial septal defect, both atrial septal defects, and that's just fine. So the echocardiogram, do you know what Robin is? Robin, do you want to be Robin?
He wants to be Batman.
You can't be.
I know. I just do it a little.
Most of the time, I believe.
Yeah.
They have to be under
I
4
can
or
be
5.
like a toy Robin.
They have to be under 6.
Yeah.
And they're okay with it. And so am I. It's the 12-year-olds that I can't convince. Because, but I never give up. Because I tell them, look, Superman is superhuman. I said, Batman's human. Batman's athletic. I said, I'm athletic. I mean,
What is?
how do you know? And they say they don't. Anyway,
I really blew my
so I
eyes.
went back on the heart-lung machine, fixed everything.
Yeah.
And then we came off, and remember that nerve from the upper chambers to the lower chambers? That's fine, it's working just fine.
Okay.
Both the right side and the left side valves are working fine, and there's no residual ventricular septal defect, and there's no atrial septal defect. So to answer the question that you wanted to know, is there a possibility that she will need an operation in the future? I think with what we have right now, it's very unusual. Okay, maybe one of those sutures, a couple of those sutures may give way, and then the valve will leak, but I don't think so.
Okay.
She threw us a little bit of a curve, because I didn't tell you this. There's such a thing as double orifice mitral valve, or double orifice left valve. So in other words, instead of having one valve, sometimes there are two. Sometimes they're even, sometimes they are like that. And so when I fixed the left valve, it was a little small, and it didn't make sense that it was so small unless there was another valve. So I went looking. It's in a very, very unusual place, but I found it. And it's about 3 millimeters. The other valve is about 9. So both of them work, so that's good news.
Okay.
So that's very hard to see on echocardiogram. The only way you see it, find it, is if you're suspecting things. And that's how we found it.
Is the left and right kind of like the same size now? Because wasn't the left small? How does that work?
Yeah,
Does that not change?
Nothing works one way or the other. It's just that the left ventricle, as you recall, was smaller than the right ventricle.
Yeah.
That's because the right ventricle got bigger because of the shunt.
Okay.
The left ventricle is working fine.
Okay.
And the pressures are all fine.
Okay.
So you want to know what's going to happen in the future, is that what you're saying?
Sure.
It's likely that the left ventricle will grow and the right ventricle will grow less, and eventually they'll even out.
Okay.
Eventually.
Because I thought with Down syndrome, isn't it common that the right side?
Well, if there's a VSD, it's coming.
Okay, and then
It's coming if there's a VSD.
okay.
So we're closing right now, so the things to look for now.
Okay.
By the way, there's a temporary wire in the right ventricle that we use in case, and she develops heart block, but she has a pacemaker wire. The chance of happening is small. I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Okay.
She could be bleeding after the operation. Right now I left and there was no bleeding, but there could be bleeding later, and then we'll have to go back and stop the bleeding. Chance of happening are about between 2 and 2 or 4% or so. She can get an infection. The chance of happening are small. Those are the main things.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions?
I don't think so.
Not anymore.
Okay. What's this character's name?
Silas.
Silas? Yeah, from Silas Marner, from Silas from who? Family name?
Just
This
liked
one
it.
we liked.